In today's episode, falsely accuse me of cheating? Well, I'll ruin the curve. I'm so sorry I got in the way of you embezzling the McMoney. School VP says you can take us to court, and my father did. So let's get started. Falsely accuse me of cheating? Well, I'll ruin the curve. So, this was back in high school, 10th grade, honors chemistry. First day of class, the teacher spelled out the rules and some info. If you had an A going into the final exam, you did not have to take the final. The final was so tough, it was graded on a curve. 75% was the highest grade ever in 20 years. So, if highest grade was 75%, then everyone would get plus 25% added to their score. Also, if you were caught cheating, you received a 0% for that test, and got in trouble with the dean. Talking during a test was okay, as long as it was not sharing answers. Weird rule, I'll admit. No problem, I thought. I love chemistry, I'll have an A going into final, and I will not have to take the dreaded final. It did sound scary, after all. Trouble started with the first exam. I finished. It was not that hard, and I was bored waiting for class to end. Being an immature 15-year-old, I whispered to the person next to me, "Look at this." I showed him my calculator, old days, which had numbers 7734, which upside down looked like hell. I said that was this test was. A few days later, I got my test back, cheating 0%, please see me after class. Long story short, that hell joke was the reason. I took it to the spineless dean, who rescinded the 15 days of detention. I was allowed to talk, after all, but did not remove the 0%. The teacher even admitted at the disciplinary hearing that he knew I did not cheat. He said I had a 100% on that test, and no one else did, but too effing bad. Rules are rules. So, the rest of that semester I worked my A*S off, and a week before the final, it was clear I would still fall 1 or 2 percentage points below an A. I'd have to take the terrible final exam. All because of my immature stupidity, and that 0% for non-cheating. Now, I am all for rules, but I am also for common sense and fairness. Making me take the test was really about the teacher's ego, pride, and saving face. He admitted as much. He was actually still pissed I did not get 15 days of detention for, by his admission, not cheating. I first talked to the principal. I offered to receive a B for the class and not take the final, because I knew it would help others with the better curve. I did not want an A with other students mad at me. Principal said, "Too bad. Okay then." I then approached the teacher and said, "Look, you know I deserve an A." He nodded his head in agreement. "If you make me take the final, I will get at least 95%, and I will kill the curve for everyone else." I was a bit cocky for sure, but I knew I could back it up. He said, "Tough, and you won't get above 75%, Mr. Smarty Pants. No one ever has." Challenge accepted and malicious compliance initiated. I studied as usual, and I told everyone else that there was not going to be a curve for the final. And don't blame me for what is going to happen to your grades. I am being forced to take this test. Before the final exam, some of the students who had to take the final pleaded with the teacher. They had no doubt in my abilities as a curve wrecker, but he was one stubborn prick. No dice. I got a 98% on the final. Everyone got 2 points for the curve adjustments, which in the past would have been at least 25 points. Kids were pissed, parents were pissed, meetings full of shouting and swearing were held. Through it all, I made sure no one was mad at me. After all, I told everyone this was going to happen before it happened. The rest of the year, the principal, dean, and teacher were all pissed at me for my stunt. They had to deal with a lot of irate parents, I guess. 15 years later, I found out the 75% max score held up every year before and after me, except of course for my year. So in the end, about 100 innocent kids got penalized, so a teacher and administration could save face. I got my A and ended up class salutatorian. I'm so sorry I got in the way of you embezzling the McMoney. I worked at 2 McRestaurants. I'm not going to reveal which McRestaurants these may be, but you may work it out. The first was in my hometown before uni for 6 months. The second was in my uni's town for 18 months. The two McRestaurants had differing IT systems, one had an online system, the other just had paper, and so I couldn't simply be transferred. I had to resign from one, get fast-tracked through application at the other, and the people who McTrained me had an easy few shifts. Lead up to being told what to comply to. Now, the first McRestaurant was very strict, but a bit too easygoing. I had good customer service, so was put on the tills every shift. I could combat every Karen with enough sarcasm and fake boomer humor to make them like me. When working on tills, the managers gave the till users their swipe cards, so we could issue refunds quicker or delete an incorrect item on the order when a customer changes their minds 10 times. All is good. Each shift I walk in, count the McMoney, do my job, cash the McMoney, go home. I was almost always perfect to the penny. Until one shift, I notice a coworker using my till during my break. When I cash the McMoney that shift, I'm down by like a $5 and a few pence, and I'm given a cash retrainer, disciplinary and basically a pop quiz about cash handling. After doing so, I mention the other coworker to a manager, and he tells me it's my fault for not constantly supervising my till and for not locking my till during my break, which I didn't know I could do. He happily shows me. Cool and good. He's nice and even shows me the legal writing that says I cannot leave the till from counting to cashing unless the till is locked. I can comply with that. The night I am finally forced to use this knowledge. A year later. New store, new managers, same legal stuff. I offer to take a coworker's shift so I can afford to eat next week, and end up on a shift with a manager who has never asked me to go on till before. Which is weird. I'm great with customers and despise cooking McFood. This time though, she was expecting the other worker, but had already gotten the McMoney ready. I take it from her, count it, sign it off, and do my job. I start learning that she is working everyone hard while she picks her nails and checks her phone. After a while she notices that we haven't had any orders for a little while, and that I'm just stood watching her procrastinate. Stop standing around and do your job. Air. I am. We have no customers, so I can't serve anyone. She tells me to get stock for the kitchen. What? I thought you wanted me to do my job? Yes. Do your job. By the book, McManager? Yes. Okay. No problem. I will stay by this till like it says in the book, duh. I continue to stand there, and she gets irate. Look, McManager, the only way I will leave this till is to go on my break. She rolls her eyes and leaves me alone. Yay. About an hour getting paid to chat with the customers and coworkers who are nearby the till. Eventually, I'm asked to go on my break, so I lock the till as per usual and do so. A coworker of mine, someone who used a flexible till next to mine while I was on break, a flexible till is signed off by a manager, said that while I was on my break she came to the till, got angry tapping the screen for it to do nothing, and stormed off. When I came back from my break, I asked for her manager card. No. It's for managers only, and you're just a till boy today. Wow, okay, is this an extended break? What? No, go do your job. I'll be able to if you give me the manager card so I can unlock your till and do my job. To be honest, you can supervise since it's your card. Again, she rolls her eyes, goes to the till with me, holds out her manager card, and I have to swipe it while she was still holding it because she wouldn't let go. The screen becomes responsive again, and I unlock it. She seems to avoid me for the rest of the shift, while I just chill since it wasn't too busy. I have time for a proper laugh with some customers, and I even have a drunken friend come in for a milkshake. She and I chat for a while and talk about the weird McManager. End of my shift, the McManager is suddenly very nice and sweet, offers to take my McMoney and count it up for me, and I can go home early. Haha. No. I'm paid to the minute and want to cover my own arse, so I count it myself. Not quite perfect. 3 pence over, I probably just didn't give a few people their penny change when they walked away. But for a cash retrainer it has to be +/1 pound. I'm chill. It was satisfying to irritate her so much while I took the role of procrastinating away from her for that shift. I was grinning on my way home that I had done everything as I should have and put a manager in her place. I even got a drunk friend buddy to walk home with. Turns out there was more to it. That was the most profitable Thursday evening in months. That evening was hundreds of quid more profitable. A little investigation had been carried out because of this. Then they noticed it was the first Thursday evening in months to not have a perfect to the penny cash amount. Then they noticed that it was me who signed it off, not the normal person. Then they noticed that the signature of the other person didn't match with her signature on other shifts. Far too much for it to be a coincidence. CCTV showed McManager to be taking the tills McMoney into the office on the usual workers' break every shift. I got in the way of it this time for just doing as told and doing my job by the book. Fired of course, fined of course, think she spent a small amount of time in prison, but now I see her cleaning the floor in the Colonel's Chicken restaurant across the street. Also, I probably would have trusted her to look after the till while I got stuck if she hadn't been so rude to XD. School VP says you can take us to court, and my father did. This incident took place in India in the early 90s. The school where my sister and I had studied was in my hometown. We knew almost all the teachers since they were practically our neighbors. When it came to the time I graduated from school, the principal had retired and the vice principal took over as the principal. The vice principal was also from the same town and for some unknown reason had some sort of grudge against my father. In local gatherings etc., he would always try to belittle my father at all chances he could get. My father would normally let it pass since he knows that getting into silly arguments with such a bully is totally unproductive. When my sister and I had joined the school, my father was required to pay a refundable deposit of 5,000 per child, which would be returned back at the time each child graduated from the school. 10,000 rupees of 90s was a large amount then, and is equivalent to 95,000 rupees of the present time. I graduated in 1989. When my father inquired about the refund, the VP had informed him that since my sister would be graduating in 1 year's time, both the deposits would be returned together. So, when my sister graduated from school, my father requested the school to refund both the deposits. There was no response even after 2 weeks and my father personally went to the school to demand the refund. The VP, being the egotistical bully, started arguing with my father stating that the school can't refund the deposits. The argument became very heated and he outright refused point blank and said, "We are not returning the deposits. Do what you can. You can take us to court if you want." My father went silent, got up and left the school, came home, sat down with mom, went through all the school-related documents she had kept. My mom had a very meticulous documentation system. She used to save every receipt, bill, stub etc. He found the receipts for the deposits. He took them to his lawyer friend. My dad informed his friends, whose children were in the same school, about the issue. The lawyer filed the case and took the school to court. The school couldn't provide any reason for withholding the deposits and fighting with the parent. My dad won. The school was instructed to pay back the deposits with interest and the court dues. My father's friends who were in the PTA took up the issue in the subsequent PTA meeting and got the school's trustee board to ensure that such issues won't be dealt with in the same manner and all deposits will be refunded in time, and strictly warned the VP not to bring personal grudges into school business. Other parents who were owed deposits but had forgotten about it starts claiming them. Cost the school a lot to pay back the deposits. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.